SUI is up over 100% since we first covered it here on the channel, and it is just a couple of percent away from making a new all-time high. Now, in today's episode of the Everything Crypto Show, I want to break down why this altcoin has been on such a massive run over the past month, as well as discuss why people are saying that this could be the Solana of this bull cycle. Now, before we hop into the content, just a friendly reminder that I am not a financial advisor, nor do I offer any sort of financial advice on YouTube. I am simply here for your crypto news and entertainment purposes. And if you do find the videos informative or entertaining, maybe even both, please consider hitting that sub and like button, as it does go a long way in supporting the channel, and I really do appreciate it. So we are going to get into SUI later on in this video. I do want to take a look at the general market overview, and then we will talk about this altcoin. And as mentioned in the intro, when we last spoke about this altcoin and actually first featured it on the channel, it was sitting at just above $1, and currently it is sitting at just above $2. So, give or take a 2x from the first time we covered it here on the channel. And this altcoin is gaining a lot of traction. A lot of people are calling it the Solana killer or the Solana of this cycle. And I'm going to break down my thoughts on that later in this video. But I do think it's worthwhile to take a look at Bitcoin and the general altcoin market first of all, as it really does give a good idea, in my opinion, of where we are at in this bull cycle. So when it comes to Bitcoin here, the one thing that I have been looking at is just a set of lower highs that it's really been making since that peak back in March. So you can see here that Bitcoin really has just been forming this set of lower highs here on the higher time frames. We can see here that it did touch a trend line back in March, touched it again in June, touched it again in August, and it actually just came back and hit it again here in September, late September, and once again got rejected. Okay, so until Bitcoin can kind of meaningfully break above this lower highs formation, I do believe that we are in sort of a bull market pullback. Now, the sort of like plus side to this is the fact that if we actually remove this this channel right here, this line, you're going to notice that Bitcoin has actually broken above its bull market support band, which is right here, with the upper band sitting at about 62.6K. So if Bitcoin does actually hold its bull market support band here as support, validate that, and then break above this lower highs formation, we could definitely see a very interesting move for Bitcoin, and I would expect the altcoin market to follow suit. In fact, I do believe that we are entering the phase of the cycle where Ether and altcoins are going to outperform Bitcoin moving forward. That has been my thesis on the channel here for a while, and if we actually take a look at Total 3, which is the altcoin market, it's basically the altcoin market. It is the total crypto market cap excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum. It has also validated its bull market support band here as a level of support, and it has in fact broken out of this lower high downtrending channel that it has been in since March. Now, if we zoom out, yes, Bitcoin has been the stronger performing asset when compared to the majority of altcoins, as Bitcoin has made a new high this cycle, and the altcoin market is still down about 46% from its prior cycle highs back in 2021. However, I do expect that moving forward, Ether and altcoins are going to outperform, and we have seen a little bit of that this month. I mean, if we even take a look here, right, like Bitcoin is up 15.5% over the past month, and we can see here some standout altcoins up over 100%, Nero up 2,487%, and even these smaller bubbles here, right, like FET up 40%, Stacks up 27%, Say up 60%, AVAX 23%. A lot of these altcoins have been outperforming Bitcoin, and I do think that this is a trend that will continue for the rest of this bull cycle. However, as I have said in previous videos as well, I think that it is a lot more important in this cycle to be selective with altcoins. I don't think it's going to be like the last cycle where every altcoin is just going on a run. I do think that as a crypto investor, everybody needs to be selective that is investing in this market and really pick the altcoins that they believe are really poised to outperform Bitcoin. And speaking of, I do want to hop into SUI now for this video. This is an altcoin that I do expect to outperform Bitcoin as we do get into alt season, the alt season that I'm looking for anyways. And there's been a lot of narrative, around this altcoin being the Solana killer. So I kind of want to just talk about this altcoin and compare it to Solana a little bit, discuss why I believe it has been going on such a monster run over the past month. So if we take a look at SUI here for starters, the first thing I want to talk about is just the stats of the actual blockchain. And I think this is really interesting and important to start off with because a big narrative surrounding Solana previously was that it was the fastest blockchain out there, okay? Solana boasts a hypothetical 65,000 transactions per second or a max TPS, meaning that, if Solana had to, it could handle up to 65,000 transactions per second. Now, if we take a look at the finality, it comes in at 12.8 seconds, okay? Now, as for SUI, it actually has a max TPS of 297,000 compared to Solana's 65,000, and the time to finality is 400 milliseconds compared to 12.8 seconds over on Solana. And there was this really interesting video that I want to play for you guys, and basically what they're doing is they're actually comparing a swap done on SUI versus a swap done on Solana, and they time it. And here you can see this is SUI's swap aggregator hop. Okay, they go ahead and put the transaction in, approved, and boom, that is done. And now we have it here on Solana. They are using the Jupiter DEX for their swap. They go through the entire thing, and you can see here that they started the timer. And when all was said and done, effectively, it took Solana, I believe it was around 10.59 seconds compared to, compared to SUI's 0.88 seconds. So this layer 1 actually facilitated this transaction in under a second. And that's a big thing when it comes to SUI, is the fact that, yes, it is now boasting the biggest max TPS, to my knowledge anyways. And that's what a lot of different people have really been talking about with this layer 1, that if it does want to see mass adoption, really if any layer 1 wants to see mass adoption, it does have to be able to handle transactions, a lot of transactions per second, and also have a fast time to finality for these transactions to actually settle. So, this is why there's been a lot of hype surrounding SUI as of late. And we can also see here that on October 5th, SUI did in fact surpass Solana in transactions, coming in at 58.37 mil versus 35.41 mil on Solana. And obviously this is just one day, okay? And in fact, Solana has once again kind of overthrown SUI in terms of the transactions and the volume, but it does go to show you that there is a lot of attention being driven to this chain. And that is why people are kind of calling it the Solana killer or the soul of this upcoming cycle. And if we actually go ahead and take a look here at SUI as well, it has quickly made its way into the top 10 blockchains by TVL, surpassing Avalanche, surpassing Polygon, Toncoin, even Optimism here, the Ether layer 2, with what did this have here? 1.41 billion in TVL. Okay, and if we take a look at that growth metric, I mean, let's go ahead and take a look at what Solana actually, or what SUI looked like here. Here we can see. So in August, SUI had a TVL of 400, basically 450 mil USD, 400 mil USD on August 4th, and that has now rocketed up to that 1.412 billion in TVL. So once again, sitting here in the top 10. Again, this is also a new layer 1 that has not yet experienced a full bull market cycle, and that's also a bullish thing for this altcoin, in my opinion. As generally speaking, the market does tend to favor new altcoins, the quote-unquote shiny new layer 1 that is boasting those impressive max stats, TPS, time to finality. And to me personally, SUI does fit this narrative. So at the end of the day, I don't really care if SUI does in fact become the Solana killer, if it overthrows Solana in TVL or in transactions per second. When we're talking about price action, I am looking at the narrative behind it, and that is what people, that's basically what the narrative is around this coin at the moment. Now, obviously, yes, sentiment can always change. However, I personally am looking for altcoins that have been showing strength to basically continue showing strength for the duration of this bull market. And I do want to wrap things up as well, taking a look at the chart here and really just analyzing the price action, because just today we actually saw this altcoin try to break above a new all-time high and got rejected. So it was back in March here when the altcoin market topped. That SUI came in at about $2.18. And we can see here that today it came really close to that, coming in at about 217, 216 there before it actually got rejected, and is now sitting back at the $2 level. So it's worth noting as well that if SUI can actually break above this previous all-time high, I mean, it is basically in price discovery mode, and from there, who knows where this altcoin will actually go. And then, I want to take a look at the downside scenario as well. I think it's always worth evaluating any potential downside. And if we do take a look at the chart here, you can also see that there is a level of support sitting at about the let's call it like the $1.90 zone right there, where we actually saw it act as resistance on 2 different weekly candles. And below that, the $1.50 zone does also look to be a pretty strong area of support for this altcoin. I do also want to take a look at this altcoin on its Bitcoin pair as well, okay? And the reason for that is it looks like it actually wants to break above its downtrend here on the Bitcoin pair. And if it does that, coinciding with a new all-time high in terms of US dollars, that would be a technical breakout on both its US pair and its Bitcoin pair, which I believe could make for a very strong continuation of this move to the upside for the SUI token. So on that note, let me know in the comments down below what you think about the SUI token. I hope you all enjoyed the content in today's video. I hope you are all staying happy, safe, and healthy, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Peace out for now.